Once upon a time, though it was not in my time, nor your time, nor for that matter in anyone's time, there lived a young lad who must needs remain under the roof of his house for a prolonged period of time. Now you might think perchance he was imprisoned by a mighty dragon, or indentured to a fiendish person, but neither this nor that are true. Rather, a malady, an illness, 'twas sweeping across the land, and it was paramount for the lad to abide in his refuge, to make safe himself, his family, and others in the region. It is said that he was a studious lad, and though he could not meet with his instructor as he was often wont to do, he ensured that a particular amount of each day was given to deliberate study of his books. Many times it so happened that he would develop a tremendous appetite for victuals during these measures of poring over words and formulas, so in order to curb the rumblings of his stomach, he would nibble on little morsels of refreshment. He took great delight in such bites as pastries with icing of cocoa, crisply fried potato slices, and thin bread topped with pressed tomatoes, creamy cheeses, and small meats, to describe just a few of his favourites. Oftentimes, as he was deeply immersed in the fervour of his studies during these times of munching, the lad would fail to remember to dispose of the little parcels which held these luscious refreshments. Ere long a vast heap of rubbish happened to accumulate in the nooks and crannies of his bedchamber. The lad's mother happened into his room one fateful day. She straightway observed the hodgepodge of rubbish, and exclaimed, "Whence forth are these filth and fragments? It is not well for you to continue in such disarray." She then excited in a scurry, only to enter the room anew with a black pouch intended for containing the debris which was strewed about. "Laddie, you ought to neaten this abode forthwith," she scolded. Regrettably, the lad was in no haste to write in his bedchamber. Lazily the time passed as it oft wont to do. Hours transpired as minutes came and went, with the ticking away of each second. The shadows grew long as the sun descended, dancing scarcely above the distant horizon. He was suddenly taken aback as a mysterious form arose from the corner. Squinting and straining in an attempt to perceive what the shadowy creature might be, and trying to comprehend how such a monstrosity had happened upon his safe abode, he cried out with wavering voice, "I say, who goes there?" The silence that reverberated back to his ears felt deafening. He watched in dismay as the silhouette swelled and surged upward in stature. Cowering with a strong foreboding, his mind in a whirlpool of thoughts, his kneecaps unbridled by fear, hammering one against the other, when he came to a sudden realization. This horrendous monster indeed was not other than the massive heap of rubbish which he had granted dwelling in his bedchamber. Acting on a renewed valour, the lad seized the black pouch previously delivered by his mother, and opening the pouch to its greatest volume, rushed headlong towards the filth beast. A mighty strife ensued as the lad and the beast clashed in battle, the one fighting for cleanliness and the recovery of his bedchamber, the other whirling about, desiring to make permanent residency in his lodging. Capturing all the rubbish, and leaving no shred of it to occupy his room, the lad secured it tightly in the pouch, and promptly discarded it within a sizable trunk. Triumphantly brushing his palms across his trousers, and soon after wiping the gathered perspiration from his brow, he resolved from such a moment in time that he would never more suffer rubbish, peaceful abode in his habitation whatsoever. Nay, he would purge all parcels, filth, and fragments, and forthwith banish them to a black pouch upon the conclusion of their required services. And I ask of you, dear hearer, wouldst thou make the same resolve as this so fine a lad, so that thou mightest prevent any causeless encounters with such a filth beast? Now all is past, the story also, for all stories must come to an end at last.